The underlying logic of why women are loved. Why does love flow towards those who don't lack love? Why does money flow towards those who don't lack money? When true love comes, those who lack love simply don't have the ability to receive it. When facing emotions, they usually go to two extremes. What's one type? When faced with others' affection, they find it hard to believe. Oh my, how could anyone like me? Should I give them something in return? They lack confidence in love and are insecure. This insecurity breeds a pleasing behavior, so they start pouring their hearts out to their partner, wanting to spend all their energy on them. This is actually a great consumption of oneself, and also makes the other person feel a lot of pressure. When one day the partner wants to leave, they're equally incredulous, wondering why the partner wants to leave when they've been so good to them. What's the final conclusion? That they really aren't worthy of being loved. In other words, these people are likely to become more insecure after a failed relationship, constantly lowering their value in relationships, using an increasingly devoted and pleasing way to love, and ultimately attracting worse and worse people who only want to take advantage of them. What's the other type? These women go from initially not believing anyone could love them to gradually not believing in love anymore, and not trusting men. They usually hold prejudices against the opposite sex, thinking all men are liars, and that the wise don't fall in love. They keep saying things like, "Is love more important than making money?" They're very resistant to entering intimate relationships, and even when they meet someone who genuinely likes them, they might easily miss the opportunity. What's the essence of either situation I mentioned above? They lack the ability to accept being loved. Due to lack of love, most of them didn't receive enough love from their parents when they were young. They haven't seen a good example of love, so naturally, they haven't learned how to enjoy being loved and how to love correctly. On the other hand, because they were rarely respected, cared for, and loved since childhood, their inner child has always been unsatisfied. So their personality remains stuck in the state of being abandoned and unloved from when they were young. Therefore, when facing love, they are uncertain, insecure, and anxious. All the anxious behaviors that arise from this are actually a defense mechanism automatically activated to protect themselves from being hurt. But if we look at those who don't lack love, because they received enough nurturing love from a young age, they show confidence, self-identity, and self-respect when facing love. Confidence happens to be the most fatal attraction in dealing with the opposite sex. Because they're confident enough and deeply believe they are worthy of being loved, they can gracefully accept others' affection and honestly express their own love. For those who don't lack love, what they lack least is the ability to accept being loved. So how can one cultivate this ability to accept being loved? The answer is to love yourself well, to re-nurture your inner child, to re-nurture yourself. I've mentioned this concept many times, but many people still don't know how to do it. It's actually very simple. You just need to nurture yourself like you would a baby. I believe many people who were neglected and lacked love in childhood fantasize about having ideal parents who love them, but most people project this ideal parent role onto others. Because they have expectations for others, when these expectations are not met, the resulting insecurity becomes even heavier. So the best way is to actually be your own ideal parent and love yourself. Ideal parents don't necessarily mean giving you a lot of money. They treat children more with companionship and patience. So you need to have more patience with yourself, spend time to see your inner feelings. When you're unhappy, how do you wish your parents would comfort you? That's how you should comfort yourself. When you say, "I feel wronged," how do you wish your parents would console you? That's how you should console yourself. You don't need to be too harsh on yourself. Rest when you're tired. When facing people or things that make you unhappy, you can be angry or furious. Allow all emotions to flow freely in your heart. This is true respect for yourself, a manifestation of loving yourself. Moreover, as you become more and more able to see your own feelings, you can distinguish people who equally respect your feelings. There's a famous effect in psychology called the Matthew effect, which means that those who have will end up having more, while those who don't have will become increasingly weak. This is why we say love flows towards those who don't lack love. In other words, if you want to break this vicious cycle of lacking love and not being loved, you need to learn to use the Matthew effect to bring yourself good fortune. Firmly believe that you are worthy of being loved, and actually do a good job of loving yourself. When you learn to love yourself, when facing a partner, You will subconsciously use the way you love yourself to love others. What you naturally bring to the other person is a relaxed and respectful love. In other words, the more you love yourself, the more people will come to love you. If you enjoyed this series, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your free likes are the greatest encouragement for me. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.